If SpongeBob lasts long enough for a voice actor to die, will the VA be replaced with a voice impression or AI, or not be used in a show reason for it? Definitely not AI. No way. First of all, it's actually impossible. It is. I truly believe that no matter how powerful an AI can be, no matter what amount of algorithms, no matter how many data centers you make, you will never be able to create a computer that will impersonate a voice actor in a way that is acceptable. It just can't. The things that voice actors do, the things that they know how to do, are things that a computer cannot replicate. It will not happen. And it would not happen with, like, it can happen with, like, you know, a little video game project or something that's, like, smaller. And that's bad when it does. Just because they're not going to care as much about quality. But in SpongeBob, no way. There's no way that there's going to be a SpongeBob where it's like, oh yeah, like we just generate the voice of the character. A lot of bad things would have to be accepted by a wider audience that I don't think ever would be as bad as the wider audience actually could be. It's hard to say what you would do in that situation. I suppose it depends. Sometimes you just retire the character, like Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy. You know, they retired the characters after their passing. I know the voice actress of Mrs. Puff is quite up there in age. May she have good health, but if on her passing, I think it would be most likely that they would probably just retire the character of Mrs. Puff. Either create a new boating school teacher or retire boating school as a concept. For like the big characters, like Mr. Krabs, SpongeBob, Patrick, Sandy, Squidward, none of those voice actors are elderly, you know? Everyone's always saying that like Tom Kenny's old or whatever. Like Tom Kenny's not old, man. Like he's like, what is he, 60? Like it's not old, all right? Like it's fine, you know? It's like even like 65. Like yeah, you're a senior citizen, sure, but like it's not old. 70 is old. Like come on. Are any of those 70? Is Clancy Brown 70? How old is Clancy Brown? I don't know how old he is. I don't think any of them are that old, but if anything happened to those voice actors, it'd be tough because you wouldn't be able to write them out of the show. No way, no way, no how. A status quo change of that size, it just wouldn't happen. They would have to hire a new actor who can do the voice. I think that's fine to hire a new actor who can do the voice. That's probably what's going to happen. I mean, that happens all the time with big characters, like major characters, like Kermit the Frog, you know, even Super Mario just got a new voice actor, you know, and he just retired. Like, and these characters are like that, you know, SpongeBob is kind of like Kermit the Frog. If anything, SpongeBob is bigger than Kermit the Frog. And in 70 years, when SpongeBob is getting season 80, which will probably happen, or different reboots of the show, like it might not be the same show. You know, it's not like Looney Tunes as season 80 or whatever. But there's still like different Looney Tunes shows and stuff like that. Oh, I don't need to keep fighting this thing. But as the characters move on, as they continue to exist, they will eventually get new voice actors. And we'll just be like, oh, you know, and I'm talking like literally like in 100 years, like hundreds, you know, in 100 years from now, it's like the Tom Kenny SpongeBob from back in the original, this actor, like it could be like 4 different, you know, just like how you have with Kermit the Frog. There's been like, what, 3 or 4 different Kermit the Frogs over the years? Stuff like that. That's probably what will happen. But there's no universe where they're going to be like, yeah, let's just generate the voice. Let's just make it worse. It will never happen. Ridiculous. If you think that would happen for a second, you don't fully understand voice acting, which is fine. Not everyone fully understands voice acting or acting in general. That's why I'm telling you, like, no shame on you for not fully understanding what it takes to be a voice actor, that you would think that would be a viable option. SpongeBob will outlive the VAs. SpongeBob will outlive all of us. They're just like Looney Tunes. Like there were people who were 5 years old watching Looney Tunes who lived well into old age, you know, or still around. What was Looney Tunes? Yeah. Looney Tunes was around in the 1940s. So there are people who would have been 5 years old when they watched Looney Tunes who are now in their 80s. So, and it'll be like that with SpongeBob, where there are people where, like me, like I'll be in my 80s and SpongeBob will outlive me. For sure. For sure. Absolutely. I think Tom Kenny will license his voice for AI cloning to keep SpongeBob. I would never forgive him. The negative opinion that I would have of Tom Kenny if he did that. First of all, I don't think that's his call because I think Nickelodeon has some kind of ownership of the SpongeBob voice, not of literally his voice, but the SpongeBob voice. But is he someone who would do that? I know, like, what's his face? The guy who was Alfred, and he's Scrooge in Muppets Christmas. Michael Caine, he, like, did that. And it made me, like, I mean, I don't know if he, you know, he's, like, 90 or whatever. Perhaps he wasn't, you know, perhaps it was someone did it on his behalf, like a greedy grandkid or something. But I think that's, like, an awful thing to do. I think that that is one of the most selfish things that you could do, to care so little about the craft of the thing that you dedicated your life to. That would be such a betrayal. What happens if a VA dies and they be replaced or not used, and if replaced, how? There will always be a talented voice actor who can do a SpongeBob character's voice. There will be, and it'll be hard. You know, Tom Kenny could retire. It doesn't even have to be someone's passing. He could just retire, like Charles Martinet retired from Mario, you know, and that was sad. And you have a new voice actor, and usually a new voice actor has a lot of respect for the old voice actor, and you talk about how they approach the character differently, and that's just how these things work. That's just how the arts is. Things change. Actors get replaced, you know? Shows change. And I think it's okay for us to embrace that. And definitely, like, the worst thing that we could do, and another reason why I think the whole AI idea is so disgusting to me, other than the fact that I think AI is disgusting, is that it's just another element of that not accepting things. You know, it's like those people, you know what it's very similar to? It's like those people where, like, someone dies and they make, like, an AI of the dead person, where it's like you're still talking to the person who died. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that to yourself. That's not healthy. No way. And also, and it depends on how hard it is, but, like, try to not humor people who do that garbage. You know, like, because people are going to try to make you feel bad if you're like, you shouldn't do that. Like, well, it's my grieving process or whatever. And, like, I get it. Grief is really hard. But we got to also accept that things end. We need to, like, I think that's more healthy to just accept that, because being like, oh, yeah, we're just going to have a robot that's going to imitate Tom Kenny. I'd rather a new actor who's going to try their best to do the voice like Tom Kenny, and then it's also them. I would prefer that. I would, even if it's not as good, even if you could make an AI that would perfectly replicate Tom Kenny, which you can't, that is impossible. You would literally have to just take Tom Kenny's brain and put it in a robot and make it alive. It would have to actually be alive in order for it to be as good as Tom Kenny, which I think would be morally wrong to do. But even if you could do that, I don't like that. I actually think it'd be better to have it be a new actor. I think that's how things change. And I think we should just accept that things change sometimes. Tom said he wants to voice SpongeBob forever. So Tom Kenny does want to voice SpongeBob. He doesn't want to retire from SpongeBob. Gotcha. I mean, you know, people don't live forever, but that's good news. You know, I want Tom to do the voice for as long as he feels comfortable doing the voice. You know, he should be the first guy to have it. You know, he's been the voice for 26 years. You know, but time marches on. You know, and I would think, and I say this because I would feel the same way if I voiced a character for my whole life. That's what I would want to happen to it after I'm gone. Or after I can no longer voice the character for whatever reason. But that's good on Tom. Good for him. What a talent. What a talent to voice that, to voice any of them, all the voice actors. Like, just it's not easy. It's not easy. It is not just sitting in a booth and doing a voice. It is so much more than that. What it takes for these people to entertain us for all these decades. It's something I have a very, very large amount of respect for. Whoa, camera. Where'd I go? Oh. Squidward's voice actor is in 70s? Roger Bumpus is in his 70s? Is Roger Bumpus older than Clancy Brown? It's funny because I would assume that Clancy Brown is older because Mr. Krabs is the older character. But I guess, like, I guess it wouldn't have to be because they're a voice actor. Like a younger voice actor could voice an older character. Oh, I didn't know that. Was that Dan joke poking fun at the fact his jokes was taking over the Nickelodeon live action network as SpongeBob? Are you talking about Dirty Dan? The theory that Dirty Dan is supposed to be an inside joke about Dan Schneider? I don't know, man. I think that Dirty Dan... You know why I think that's not true? Because Dirty Dan is really funny on its own. Like, try to think of, if you're writing that episode, if you're writing Survival of the Idiots, what name would be funnier than Dirty Dan and Pinhead Larry? What name would be funnier than Dirty Dan? Like the alliteration, I'm Dirty Dan. I'm Dirty Dan. All that stuff. It's just the funniest name they could have picked. I don't buy it. I don't think so. I don't think it's an inside joke. I think it's got nothing to do with it. I'm curious about the Simpsons cast. It's actually painful to listen to the new episodes. Yeah, that show, what is it, 35 years? I have not watched The Simpsons much. I haven't watched The Simpsons since I was a kid. I watched a bit of season 1 not too long ago, but I haven't really watched a lot of The Simpsons yet. I should get more into it. Patrick is close to 70. Yeah, wouldn't Tom Kenny be one of the youngest of the main SpongeBob voice actors? Which would make sense because SpongeBob's a pretty youthful character. That he would have been cast when he was younger. I don't know how old they all are. Marge, voice actress, and Tom Kenny loves what they do. I feel like Tom is doing SpongeBob just fine, if not even cooler nowadays. Yeah, I think people overstate that when they're like, oh, like Tom Kenny's losing his voice or whatever. It's like, no, he's just doing it a little differently. They say that with Marge too. It's interesting you bring the two of them up. I haven't watched enough of The Simpsons to properly judge what I think of the Marge voice actress, Julie Kavner, what she's how she's doing it these days. But with SpongeBob, like the modern, like you could tell it's different. SpongeBob does sound different in modern episodes, absolutely. But I don't think it's an indication of anything negative with Tom Kenny and his voice. I don't think it's an indication of anything like that. I think voices do change with age. But I don't think it's a sense of like losing the voice. It's possible. If there are any voices that could run rampant on your vocal cords for doing them for multiple decades, SpongeBob and Marge Simpson would definitely be high up on the list. So it's not too crazy, but I wouldn't say that it's like fact just because it sounds different. Voicing a character is easy though. It is absolutely not easy. It's actually like, I mean, it's high acting. Like you are at the top of your craft. Being at the top of your craft at anything, it's like it's the equivalent of if you are an Olympic swimmer, but for talking. That's what being a voice actor is. You are as good as a gold medal Olympic athlete is at running. You are at speaking. That is what being a voice actor is on a show like SpongeBob. Voicing a character is not easy. Trust me, sit down and try. I wrote and recorded something for an independent project of mine, and I voice acted it, but I'm a trained actor. Like I have vocal training, and it is not easy to voice a character. No way. Not easy. Not easy at all. Another question, Jackson. How do you feel is season 17 goes the animation and writing style route of A Fish Called Sandy? Patrick was also... You mean like if all of season 17 was animated like A Fish Called Sandy? That's interesting. So that's a very good question. So I talked about A Fish Called Sandy in my SpongeBob art style video. I talked about A Fish Called Sandy, and I also talked about Go Fetch, because those were the two most recent prominent episodes that have different art styles. And something I said about A Fish Called Sandy that was negative, I spoke very positively of A Fish Called Sandy's story. It was a well-written episode. It was funny. It had a good lesson. It had all that sort of stuff, all that stuff that is necessary for a good episode. But I did say that the problem with A Fish Called Sandy was that there was kind of no reason for it to have the season 1 art style. I saw a few good arguments for it where it's like, well, because A Fish Called Sandy is about Sandy experiencing the ocean for the first time, it's like season 1 SpongeBob, because season 1 SpongeBob is the first time you experience the ocean. if you watch the show from the beginning. Like, I saw a few good arguments for it, but I just didn't really buy it. It just kind of felt like to me that the only reason that A Fish Called Sandy looked like that was because it got a lot of attention that it looked like that. Now, if they did it for a whole season, if they literally just were like, no, the art style, or not for a whole season, if they did it just in the near future, like if just from now on, every episode was stylized in the same way A Fish Called Sandy was, which basically means they wanted to use modern animation techniques, but it looks like season 1. I would have no problem with that. I think that's as valid of a stylistic choice. Like, you wouldn't need a story reason for it, because it's just like, well, that's just the art direction we're doing now. But if you do it for one episode, I think it needs a story reason. It needs a story reason if you just do it for one episode. You wouldn't need a story reason if you did it moving forward, because then it would just be the art style of the show now. It's not saying anything about this one particular episode, if that makes sense. So I would not mind that. I don't particularly mind the current art style. I'm not like, oh, the current art style is trash, they need to make it look like season 1. I'd say I wouldn't mind either way. I think it would be good if it looked like season 1. I think it's good if it looks like season 16. I think it's good if they do a new art style, as long as the art style works. That's generally my position on stuff like that. Looney Tunes started in 1930. Oh, I said it started in 1940. Wow. So yeah, definitely there are people who were born, lived well into old age, and died, and Looney Tunes was older than them. And that will be the case with all of us and SpongeBob. Tom Kenny would not do that, would not license his voice to AI. I wouldn't think so. I think, like, already, like, I don't know every individual voice actor's, like, individual opinions on AI or whatever, because some can have bad opinions. Like, I think, isn't it the Phineas and Ferb creator who also does the voice of Doofenshmirtz? Like, he's, like, very chill with, like, people using, like, AI clones of, like, Doofenshmirtz's voice. I wouldn't straight up accuse him of that right now. I don't have anything in front of me that's, like, him saying that. I've just, like, kind of heard that. So maybe I'm completely wrong. Let me know if I'm wrong and he's not that. But I would think that if you're a voice actor, you're gonna be predisposed to being against AI cloning of a voice, because you're a voice actor. You know what it takes to do that voice, and you would know that AI would never be able to recreate it. So most likely Tom Kenny would be against that because he's a voice actor, but you never know. There are plenty of people who are incredibly talented but are stupid about their craft. You know, there are people who are great writers but have horrible ideas about writing. Like, it does happen. Just being talented at something doesn't mean you have all of the correct opinions all the time. But I would say it's more likely that a person who is a voice actor would be against AI cloning of voice actors because they are more likely to understand voice acting. But it's not a one-to-one. Tom puts all his heart into every SpongeBob line. Who can match that passion and energy? There are lots of talented actors out there that could, for sure. Not to say that there isn't something unique about Tom, that he's not incredibly talented, because he super is. It won't be exactly the same, but maybe that's all right that there's something different. But I do agree, he puts all his heart in every SpongeBob line. But so will the new voice actor, ideally. Nobody could do Tom Kenny's laugh. Someone could impersonate it. You'd be surprised. You know what's funny? The thing about replacing a voice actor like that is you do need more. This was a big thing with the Rick and Morty when they replaced Justin Roiland with Rick and Morty, where people kept saying, like, oh, they should get this impersonator, this, like, TikToker. And I think what people don't understand when they would say that is that there is, like, I get what you're saying. Like, can you do Tom Kenny's laugh? Like, it's actually not just, there's definitely some impressionist out there that can just do SpongeBob's laugh. You know, like, probably a lot of people. But is that person also a talented voice actor? And when I say actor, I mean someone who knows how to put certain inflections and certain feelings into stuff. You can impersonate a character, but to actually act as them is different. And that's why I think with the Rick and Morty replacements, what is good about them is not just that they can impersonate the characters, but they can actually act as them, which is something that a regular impersonator can't do. And it's also something that AI can't do.